Well, a very good morning to you. Welcome to Introducing Zetadocs, the document delivery, capture and management coffee break. This is the fourth in our series of coffee break webinars held on the third Thursday of each month at 10:30. So I will invite you to sit back, relax and enjoy your coffee break. For your information, this webinar is short. It's going to be 15 to 20 minutes. I'm not going to invite any questions or queries as the time is so limited, but my emails and contact details will be provided at the end. There is some promotional pricing available to the end of October with Zetadocs, and we will perhaps talk about this a little bit later. And there will be follow-up workshops relating to Zetadocs in the next few weeks and months. So let's get straight in and talk to Zetadocs and talk about heading towards paperless. This has been the panacea for decades, I think, but there are pressures on the current system, the current way we work, to try and push us further and further down that particular road. There are increasing costs and reducing reliability of standard mail and paper filing. We don't call it snail mail for nothing. We all wince when we buy a stamp, and paper filing has to go down as one of the most boring, awful jobs that we have to do. There are also heightened commercial pressures during the recession to get invoices out and payments in, called the orders to cash cycle, and we're all chasing our tail to a greater or lesser extent. There is greater acceptance today that document authorization and approval processes can be changed and improved, but historically you'll appreciate that sort of the accounts payable purchasing area has been a sort of role that's never really changed at all over the years. But now we have the acceptance by HMRC, the main accounting organisations and audit agencies that electronic documents are acceptable. So now we have the opportunity to take the lid off that and to start looking at how we can perhaps make some important changes in this area. So it's not just about changes for change's sake. We can also talk about customer service, which is becoming an increasingly important competitive edge that organisations are seeking to take. And of course, green corporate credentials are becoming increasingly necessary, and the carbon footprint is becoming one of the key sort of business requirements. Zetadocs is all about sending documents electronically and about capturing documents and storing them electronically. Documents can be received by email, and they can come in also as fax and paper documents, and then be scanned in to create the digital format. But then those documents are stored away in SharePoint and NAV. And the idea is that those documents then become available not only to the NAV users, but to the SharePoint people as well. Similarly, when sending documents from NAV, then those documents, whether they go by email, by fax, or by Royal Mail, they too will be copied, scanned into the SharePoint and NAV. So the benefits of using Zetadocs can be split into perhaps three areas, and we'll talk about the capture side and the delivery side here. The capture side is all about reducing time and cost of filing and retrieving documents. It's all about making sure those documents are available all the time, and it's all about making sure that none get lost in the course of the day, the week, and so on. Misfiled documents or lost documents holds up everything in relation to customer service, and it's the most frustrating thing that can happen within an organisation. I'm sure you can all appreciate that. So improving customer service, having all those documents to hand, eliminating paper reduces our carbon footprint. The costs associated with delivery are easier to understand. We work on the basis of roughly £1 per document to print and post, and that's easy then to understand. If we send 5,000 documents, then maybe we save £5,000. But the idea then too of auto-archiving those documents and having them available, the idea of moving things faster through the system to reduce our data issues, and again the idea of getting rid of all that paper and reducing the carbon footprint is a very attractive one indeed. Zetadocs then is about capturing those documents. It is about delivering those documents, but crucially it's about sharing those documents, having them available 24/7, not only to the NAV people, but also to everyone within the organisation with the appropriate permissions. Beyond that, there are elements of workflow that we can run through purchase orders or invoice authorization to make the whole process more efficient. And of course, come that time at the end of the financial year when the auditors come in, no need for those massive boxes with papers filed from the previous year. They should all be there electronically on the system. Now, for the purposes of Zetadocs, we use SharePoint. If we're just talking about delivery, then we can use file server. But if we're going to talk about capture as we are today, then SharePoint becomes the key factor in the way we want to work. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of Zetadocs. For a change, I'm going to use NAV 2009 in classic mode, and I'm doing that because most of our clients at the present time are still using classic. I do this because the idea is that we can start using Zetadocs in the classic mode, and then as we upgrade to role-tailored client within NAV 2009, or indeed NAV 2013, then obviously we can bring Zetadocs along with us. For SharePoint, I'm going to connect to Microsoft Office 365, which has its own SharePoint environment. So let's look at NAV 2009. Here I have a purchase order pretty much ready to go. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to send a purchase order and then I'm going to receive the invoice, and we're then going to attach the invoice. And the idea is that in SharePoint, ultimately, we should be able to see both the order as it went out and the invoice as it was received. I won't do it today, but we could also bring in the delivery note as was received when the goods or the services were delivered to the company. So this is, to all intensive purposes, a standard, I should say, purchase order, and we can just go straight off to print it. I'm going through the steps here, so we go effectively to the Zetadocs printer. And what we'll be invited to do in a moment is to see the steps that it takes to verify the email address that we're going to use. And I'm going to allow us to preview this document before sending. This is the first time we've opened it, so it'll just take a moment to do. But here we have it ready to go. And if I wish to, this is my email cover note. And if I wish to, I can open up my document so that we can see our purchase order all ready to go. So without further ado, let's send it. Now what's happening now is that the Zetadocs functionality is accessing my Outlook and it's going to send this email. And at the same time, it is going to upload that document up into SharePoint. Now, here at the bottom, we can see that the batch was sent successfully, so my Outlook has got it, and it was archived successfully, so we know that SharePoint has it also. So we've always got this audit trail to see where we're working. So let's go up to have a look at my SharePoint site. This is pretty much straight out of the box Office 365 SharePoint site, and I've created a directory here on the left-hand side called Zetadocs. Here we can see all my suppliers as have been set up, and if I click on Coolwood Technologies and click on Purchases, so I can see all the orders as they have been sent, and here we have the purchase order that has just been put through into the system, and I can open that. And the whole point is that I'm opening it as outside of NAV. I'm not opening it within NAV at all. So this is part of people outside the NAV circle within the organization being able to see what's going on, have access to the information as they require it. Going back to my NAV document, let me just make this the size screen. I can also click on my Zetadocs archive here at the bottom, and I can see here when we connect to Office 365 from NAV, we'll see the documents appear. What we can also see from here is that there have been 2 versions of this purchase order, and I can click on from here and I can click on from here. So it may be that a price has changed or a quantity has changed, and so we've got that audit trail as purchase orders perhaps have evolved over a period of time. Assuming now that the goods have been received, what we have here is the invoice may be sent to us electronically, it may be mailed, in which case one of my colleagues will have scanned it. But I have a folder where all my invoices materialize, so I'm going to go up to my desktop and down to my Zetadocs purchase invoices, and I can see all the documents that have been received and that are ready for processing. Now the way this works, we can have automated systems, but the basic out-of-the-box way this works is I can click here and go to open up the Zetadocs archive. It now connects to SharePoint on Office 365. And when that's complete, that link, I'm going to drag and drop the invoice into that area. So opening up my folder, the document number I'm looking for is 5290, so let's just click on that. So that's our document number. We can see description, everything else. And what we can do then is just simply drag it down and drag it across and dump it into this SharePoint. So SharePoint, that is now being uploaded into SharePoint, and I will see when that's complete the document here on the screen below. And there we go, the Coolwood invoice 5290. And I can look at it from here, and indeed I can go into SharePoint itself and look at it from there, which is what I'll do now. So here we go back into, just drop back to Zetadocs and back into Coolwood, our purchases. And we can now see our Coolwood invoice 5290. So I could have seen it in NAV, and now I can see it here within SharePoint. So what we've done very, very briefly there, very, very quickly, is we have sent a document out, we have sent it electronically by whatever means to our vendor, and we have archived it in SharePoint. We have received our purchase invoice, we've processed our purchase invoice and attached the hard copy, if you like, the electronic copy, the electronic paper copy of that invoice onto the NAV document itself. So we have a complete audit trail available to us. Moving on then, we're beginning to realize how simple it can be. We have seen different presentations and there are workflows that can be brought into play. But one of the interesting things to understand is just how much one can save in terms of both delivery and capture by adopting Zetadocs. So the question is this an investment worth making for the business? And I would invite you to go to the Equisys website, to their calculator, and put through some of the numbers to come up with a view as to whether this could be for you. All I will say is that ROIs of less than 1 year are not uncommon. And I'd be very interested to get your feedback from running through this calculator. So we can replicate our current manual systems initially, and then we can roll out going ahead with changes and workflows and other things in the process. And if our volumes are too large or are growing, then we have the capability down the line of adding automation and adding barcoding. And of course, all of this is upgradable to role-tailored clients later. So the calls to action for you are probably threefold. Think evolution rather than revolution. We're not trying to change the world overnight. Ease these processes in gently and let them initially run manually alongside your existing process. And perhaps you just start with one area, perhaps it's purchasing, perhaps it's sales. But look at how many documents you might wish to deliver and capture in a month. Go through the evaluation process and the ROI calculator and see how that comes out. And if you haven't done so already, think about implementing SharePoint. It is free with Windows Server 2008 and it is relatively quick and easy to set up. And finally, talk to us. We've been through the process with a number of clients, both at the simplest level and at the most complex level. And we'd be more than happy to show you some of the detail and take you through the processes yourself. So there are a couple of suggested plans for you. On the purchasing side, think about sending purchase orders. Think about receiving delivery notes. Think too about receiving those purchase invoices. And then, of course, being able to send the remittance advices out. On the sales side, you've got quotes, you've got amendments to quotes and everything else that may come in, and you've got the audit trail within SharePoint to take you through that process. You can receive the purchase orders from the customers, and you can also receive the signed PODs when you deliver your services or your products. You can send the invoices, and of course, at the end of the cycle, you can send the statements. So thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. If you do have any questions, please feel free to email me, john.gardner@cosl.co.uk. I'll be delighted to hear from you, and I'll come back to you with my responses as soon as I possibly can. For more information, please do go to the Equisys Zetadocs website. There is a huge amount of information, both in terms of literature, case studies, and videos, and it'll give you a great depth of information to help you with your decision-making process. Finally, we're doing our Zetadocs presentation workshop on Wednesday, 3rd of October in the afternoon. We're preceding that with the a launch now 2013, so if you wanted to come in the morning, you've been more than welcome. Either way, there's no charge and lunch will be provided. My next coffee break is the third Thursday in October. That's the 18th of October, and we'll be at 10:30 in the morning again. And I shall look forward very much, I should say, to seeing you then. So thank you very much indeed for your time. I hope you found what we've been through informative and interesting, and I look forward to meeting you again on the web in a month or so's time. Thank you. Bye-bye.